All right.
Mhm.
So, how do you react when you're in the ring against a bully and they're kicking your anus all over the place? You can't recover and you cannot get yourself on track to offset what they're doing to you. How do you handle this? You're swollen, you're bleeding. For the first time, you've really been dazed.
Mhm.
How do you actually deal with that? And that's exactly what we're about to talk about today on Think Bigger, aka the Slick Fighter Edition. Because what we're going to do is make sure that you all have the right tools going into the boxing sport, amateur or professional. These situations happen to us all. So today we have my co-host Stacy in the building.
Hey,
Good to,
everybody.
good to see
Hey.
you. We're going to go into some of the things that you'll learn about the slick fighter system of boxing.
Yeah.
It's morphed from the Philly shell, the turtle shell, the all of the other different the peekaboo. They're just a bevy of proper skills that's rolled in together, scenario based. And so Stacy's going to throw some of the questions that you guys have been tossing up at us, wanting to learn what should you do and what should you not do. So I
Mhm.
think this is going to be a great episode for all of you to chime in. First of all, let us know exactly where is it
Mhm.
that you are watching from on the globe today. We're down in South Florida, loving the sun year round.
Yeah.
But when we talk about boxing, we're about to get into it. We're going to also share some comments from former Olympian and world champion Andre Durrell. And we're going to show you guys a couple of behind the scenes training drills that help you with these scenarios. We're
Yeah.
not just going to talk about it, we're going to actually give you some of the things that elitists
Mhm.
did to overcome those butt whoopings in the ring, because there are only a few times in history when it counted most in those championship fights that the fight was turned around, and it was because of these things, the secrets that you're about to learn. And some people say there are no secrets in boxing. It's nothing but secrets in boxing, because the real giants don't surrender their knowledge. Now, there's a bunch of other stuff that you can learn, but when it comes down to that briefcase stuff, it's not out here. You can't Google it because it's in their heads. That's why in the early 2000s, in the very late 90s, boxing went disarray because there were no teachers teaching the sport. Emmanuel was on his way out, and the last of the Mohicans had totally escaped the game. So that's why boxing took such a hit. And
Mhm.
fortunately, I had the opportunity to share and learn from the deepest boxing lineage. So these are the things that I'm going to share with you today. I've had the tip of the hat from my mentor and coach and his mentor and coach. So we get it in.
That's
Let's
right.
get it popping. So Stace, first of all, the most important thing to us is the people who are on board watching and those of you who had questions. So I like to dive directly into that and
Sure.
make it really, really clear. But I do want to share something with these individuals first. And that is one of the most important things when I say I just don't want people to think that I'm the only one saying it.
Mhm.
It's the legends, the ones who are currently boxing and those who have just finished their boxing careers. When you're bumping heads against the best fighters in the world, what are the guys who still have their gloves laced? What do they say? Because they've gone through all of these experiences, Olympics, national tournaments, the best of the best, all of these different what was it, a super six with the best fighters in the professional rankings, that
Mhm.
they won't do that tournament again because it was so brutal, and then become world champion. What are some commonalities that these fighters run into? And I'm going to play a snippet of our interview with Andre Durrell, and if you guys stay around, you're going to see some actual skills done and displayed. So I'm going to share
Good
this
stuff.
with you guys now. So here we go.
It does. It's going to take a big element of confidence and not just skill.
Yeah,
Right.
you can't fake that kind of confidence.
No, you can't. You can't. You have to. You simply have to take yourself to another level when you show up for the trials, for the box offs, and for any other big tournament for a world championship fight. Doesn't matter. You always going to have to take a little bit more with you, even though you don't think you can muster it. You have to find a way to believe you did.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
go in there and perform the best of your ability, man. We have to show up in times of, uncertainty, man, and
yeah.
your work ethic is going to be your only confidence booster to that.
It's going to take things that you didn't know it was going to be required of. Hence is why I like to make it clear to the people who are actually on board and they're watching. And we have coaches under our tutelage that I think sometimes people think they got it, they figured it out. This is a man who's gone down the walks and won, national tournaments and Golden Gloves and been in POW tournaments and have fought in every major national and international tournament that there is in the world of boxing, including the Super Six, which entailed Arthur Abraham, Andre Ward. Just everybody who was dangerous to fight, they all was in Carl Frock. It was like one world champion after the next. And so as he went directly deeper into his career, what he found is this thing continues to go up levels. And I don't want our coaches to think I learned a little bit of the peekaboo and I learned a little bit of the Philly shell and I know how to do the box step. And the honest truth is the most difficult thing to learn and master is the box step. Because first of all, it's a visual and it looked like something that's fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
But the reality is it's the actual periodic table of boxing. Now you have to understand why. And it takes years to learn that. But it's a fun endeavor because one of the things that I can think back to, Stace, is when I was learning boxing, I was always high off of boxing. Every day I was like learning new stuff. So I get it, guys. But
Well, in some day, I'm going to take the camera to the storage unit and they are going to see all of the Rubbermaid tubs of VHS and DVD. You don't say DVD tapes, DVDs.
Yeah.
Of the education where you were learning from others and you were recording your fighters. We're talking, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Tub after tub after tub. So it's a real thing.
Yeah. And really as I'm going to tell them now, because what I just spoke to was basically what does it take other than skill? And Andre Durrell was making it clear that they're just going to be so much more that you have to learn other than skill. So that's one of the reasons I wanted him to shed light on that point. So they just won't hear it from me. They'll hear it from a former world champion. I always ask Otis, who's the premier physical specimen on the show. Just one of the things that's so enlightening when you speak to people who've actually done it and done it at the highest level. I talked to Shane Mosley. I talked to all of the people that we've had on the show. We make sure that you get to hear it. I made it clear when we had Mauricio Suleiman, the president of the WBC, up here. And that's why we always keep the right knowledge right in front of you. And I said, what does it take to break into the top 25? So people won't just think I'm trying to shed my narrative onto them. So when it was all said and done, he made it clear as a bell. You got to fight real fighters. You can't just win in your little local area. Now, a lot of people try to build up boxing records. You can't fool the WBC. You're not going to get on the top 25 building padding records. So you got to really learn what's out there and what you have to do. And it basically is what we have created the School of Boxing for, so that when you run into those scenarios, you have a place learn from people who've been in it for generations, doing it at the highest level. So that's all I wanted to say. Now, I wanted to really let people know as we are going on. For those of you who are chiming in, please let us know exactly where you're watching from, because we're going to get into some behind the scenes and some tutorials just showing you a few of the techniques that it's going to take for you when you're in that boat where someone's whooping your butt in a match and you don't know how to overcome it. So coaches, it's going to be very beneficial to you as well. So I definitely take notes and have my pen and pad, but at the same time, lessons versus learning. Lessons get you through a scenario once or twice. Learning it is timeless. You know, it covers all of the befores, the afters, the durings, and the next times. So remember, if how you learn, you're learning the way that you're learning for your fighter. So if you're just getting little information here and there, you're not benefiting your fighter greatly. So that's the little advice I have. It's up to you if you care about your fighter or not. But you know, I always want to make sure that you guys are truly learning, because this is a learning center. All right, Stacy, let's see what the fans are asking about the peekaboo style of boxing, redefined and refined.
Yeah.
So
as you can
fighter, but go ahead.
Yes. So, I mean, as you guys can imagine, with the following that we have here at Master Boxing, the abundance of questions that we get. And, you know, before I go into this particular one, we get a lot of people just inquiring about the peekaboo style. Yes. They want to understand what is slick fighter. And it's, you know, these folks, a lot of times they don't even know the box step, like Coach just said. So, but that being the case, we have coaches that truly reach out and are vested in training and giving their fighters what they need. And I would say, as I went through a list of a lot of the questions that we've gotten as of recently, is like the top of their list is, are their fighters even physically capable of doing and learning the peekaboo style?
All right. Well, that's a great question. Are there fighters that's even physically capable of doing the peekaboo style? And this is a great question, because put the clock on me though. I only want to go in for 90 seconds. So I'm gonna give you a 90-second answer. Okay. One of the things that I would have you know about the peekaboo is it took a total of 6 total weeks of nonstop conditioning just for the torso development. So the trunk needs to be developed. So that means 7 days a week they had to train on it. The day that they weren't at the gym, they actually had to do contortions and develop and reconstruct, break it down and rebuild, because you're going to implement new movement, new motion. And it doesn't mean that you just copy what you saw Mike Tyson do, because that's not it. You have to recreate your DNA structure, your algorithm, and you have to adopt it. And then you have to be very second nature with it once you're doing it inside of the boxing ring, because standing there in the mirror acting like Mike Tyson is one thing, but doing it in the ring is another thing. So I'm going to show you a short clip of one of the drills that we would do. But using the peekaboo style, it takes an immense developmental system. So it took nearly 2 months to develop the trunk. And all of the guys would tell you from the under their armpits to the lower back and the thoracolumbar region that they would be extremely sore throughout that entire duration. And by the time that was not the case, that's where they started to really get the understanding, because doing this ain't the peekaboo. Peekaboo is about the peeping over the gloves, and turtle shell is peeking between the arms. So I'm gonna finish right now, last 15 seconds. And so with that being said, it's all about developing that skill. And then it took a total of 848 hours to get skill sets together. So with that being said, it's a lot more to it than meets the eye. And ours is different because we had to eliminate all of that explosive movement and merge into some slick fighter stuff. And that's why it's called Slick Fighter. That's it. Go ahead.
All right. So the other question that we get a lot from coaches is, if I teach my fighters the peekaboo style or the slick fighter style, am I opening them up to be more vulnerable in certain types of attacks?
Yes, if you just use the peekaboo style. If you just use the peekaboo has you, the rules of it is different. But the fact that I understand the concepts and theory of boxing, and I've done it literally over 45 years physically. What you understand is now you understand it so much that you can write about it and you know it. And so once you know something, you know how to adapt it and adjust it. So if you fight and use the peekaboo style, you're squared up. So it's easy to hit a person with uppercuts. It's easy to hit a person with a jab to the chest. It's easy to catch them with a right hook. There are several things that you can catch a person with. So yes, you do open them up. But when you implement our drop and roll system, our pivot circuit system, people stay in that thing for a year.
They do.
Trying to learn it. We have people flying from around the world, Hong Kong, just to finish the mastery of it because they couldn't get it without physically being here. So we've done that, and we filmed a lot of it live. So some of you guys got to see, and that's what I decided that was necessary to master a peekaboo form of boxing that has a lot of elements that creates angles without all of the squaring up, and everything is still all about not getting hit and getting close enough to create max damage. So yes, your fighter will get exposed if you don't know how to do it like we teach it. That's why ours is Slick Fighter. It's 2 full 3-hour video sets. That's what
It's deep.
It's deeper than deep, and it's educational. You're learning more than skills.
Definitely. Since you brought that up, with the teaching more than skills, is we hear a lot of coaches reach out and, how do I mentally prep my athletes to dive into this style that's aggressive and be able to use it with confidence? This is, how do we mentally
You're not
prep
going to have
them?
confidence at first because you're going to get hit so much.
Mhm.
But I didn't like that. So I implemented methods inside of the style that allowed you to defend in the midst of being aggressive and then falling back and creating setup movements and counters. So that's one of the things that I'm going to allow my buddy Andre to come in and show, because he was one of the greatest counter punchers that there were in the sport, amateur and pro. And one of the things that he did great is his technique. So it's going to be fun having that clinic that we're going to have and host in the School of Boxing. And it's just going to really enlighten people, because when you see people do it who really know how to do it, it's just special.
Yeah. Good stuff. So
Yeah.
it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because as you're taking the time to explain how your Slick Fighter system was developed and why you did it the way you did, you're really the beautiful thing is you're putting water on a lot of people's fears and questions that they have about the peekaboo. Because,
Yeah.
one thing, and I witnessed this firsthand in the gym, working with the team, is there's so much stamina required
Yeah.
to be able to execute this style, not fake it, but do it for real.
Yeah.
And with your system, I'll let you speak to the stamina component of how you've actually addressed that.
Well, the stamina was required because they actually had to learn the real peekaboo. And there's a reason why in 50 years, 70 years, there's only been 3 people that win titles with it. Okay, because it's not a style that's meant to win championships by itself. It was just, these guys were different. Jose Torres, Mike Tyson, and Floyd Patterson all were unique frames and up here, they were different. And so that's where that gap between one champion to the next, So people say, why can't anyone win with the peekaboo style? You can't win with any style. You have to win with a system. A style makes you predictable. You can't bob like this enough in a fight. That'll never happen again, ever. All right. And even Mike Tyson learned a lot of different other wrinkles. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tyson wasn't just doing one thing. If you watch Mike Tyson, his inside game, his clinch game, his offensive prowess, that was all about knowing different systems of boxing, because he was in a deep pool of that wisdom. And all of those guys, like Kevin Rooney, they had all fought. So they had a lot of understanding, the Teddy Atlases of the world, Cus D'Amato. So, and then you picking from other people. I know Mike Tyson picked from Tony Zell, which we ended up getting the notes of Tony Zell. Ted came up here, gave us the book, gave us everything. And I say, don't get it. If you haven't read it, read The Man of Steel. And so to have that kind of relationship in the sport of boxing, these are, when people say there are no secrets, this man hand wrote all his notes, and they were offered to us right here on the show.
Yeah.
And so we're talking about there are no secrets in boxing. There are no secrets. If you don't have secrets, then there are no secrets. But when you reach my level, you get secrets. That's how you get to this level. 40 title fights over that. So it's all about knowing what to do, what not to do. But that's beautiful. And so what I'm going to do in between that is I'm going to talk about lineage and how important it is with Darrell. This was one of the conversations we had. So I want to share it with these guys as well. So here he is.
We get older, we recognize these things, and I can tell you, you won't see it in those times. And for fighters today who don't have that lineage, like you said.
Hold up. This is the one.
Your natural ability, but having someone who had a lineage, who's been in the ring with Muhammad, who's been around. How important is a lineage?
I think it was because of that too, because after all throughout our amateur career, I'm talking about throughout the whole entire journey, 236 fights worth, my grandfather always made us watch boxing when we got home. So I was clocking stuff in that I probably had no idea. My subconscious was doing a lot of the work for me, right?
Yeah.
And so I was a student of the game, man. But
I like the way you said that. Your subconscious was doing a lot of work for me.
Yeah. People don't pay attention to that.
They don't pay attention to that.
And that's probably thanks to the book mastery. Right there. I ain't saying that because I read a lot, right?
And that's it.
Yeah. Student of the game.
Until it's subconsciously. See, when you're doing these things and you're learning off the internet, you're not getting that. And that's required, that lineage, that depth. And then when it ends up turning into what it is, it's all about mastery. And so while everybody else is doing the same thing, you're doing something different. My guys were studying. My guys were in the gym on another level. My guys was reading when they got home, our books. They were reading. They were taking it in. And that's one of the main reasons, there's a clip that I'm going to share with you guys. So I had to make sure that I shared that one with you because like I said, I want you guys to hear it from greatness. And that's greatness. And that's true greatness.
Beautiful.
And like I said, I'm going to share one of the clips that I wanted to share with you guys is a little bit of the forward process step. So this is going to last about 75 seconds. So I want you guys to stay patient. This is one of the drills that we walked through, right? And it builds your legs up. So if you're a fighter that always seems to get caught by a jab and you have trouble getting by the jab, see, Stacy, this is what we did. There are so many different drills that it requires you to overcome your huckleberry. And so this was one of the drills, and it took hours and hours and hours, day after day after day. repetitive. And so this is closing and walking.
Now let's close this distance. Really good. Go.
Now watch the feet.
Beautiful. That's it. Sugar Ray Robinson back.
Look at this, the mastery in the feet.
Good. Nice push off with the back leg. Very good. Take it all the way back to the desk. Good.
And that's a Ray Robinson going backwards.
Very good. Solid stuff. Ready?
This is about
Good. Walk.
3.5 hours in, having to develop that algorithm, that footwork.
Good.
Shoulders must be, but you gotta watch everything because I kept notes inside of it so you can read
As
it.
we're moving forward, our objective is to execute the push off with the back leg, keeping the front leg in front. Good. And double push. You're galloping towards him and keeping the head off the line. That's huge. That's important.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So much
Very
work.
good.
4.
If you're retreating, keeping the head slipping back, left to right. Very good.
And then you're gonna see another
Again.
drill added to this.
Double step. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2. Closing the gap twice as fast. Beautiful.
And what happens is now we're going over the top and under.
Good.
You
Repeat
close
them
the
drills.
gap all the way with one
Master the
move.
science of power. There's a variation of press, forward press with the peekaboo style, making sure that whenever you execute these drills, that you have the clear understanding of how the feet should move. So as you're moving forward with the walkthrough, you want to have this much space from here to here, which is approximately 18 inches, shoulder width apart. When you're pushing forward, your first objective, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
You're doubling up every time.
two,
Doubling up the move every time.
You want to walk through that way and then come back as the drill is progressing. That's tier 1.
That's your walk
2,
drill.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
You have to meet
Each
this
layer.
sequence.
And then
Now this
This
is
is
it
go.
sped up.
and you can see I'm steady, making moves left to right, and adding that over the top. Watch 1, 2, 3, 4. All the explosive and combines. There's a science behind the movement, just like this.
Now this
Jab
is
here and come right here
crack.
with all the explosiveness of an offensive fighter
Once you
who's
close the
possessing
gap,
the skill set of the peekaboo style.
you see what you have to do is once you learn to get to the place where you close the gap, you now have to learn how to get behind that jab, break off to the side, rip, rake. All right. And when you're turning in, the first shot is a right hook to the belly, an entirely different savage package of punches. And so they learn and learn. And I'm going to tell you a quick story after
Break
that.
off. Body. Go. One up top too. That shit hurt. Good, you're gonna slip out. And then you're gonna see you slip. Right there. Turn it. Set. All right. Like I told you, father and weak. Go stay on. Get him on. Father and weak. Go up under. Stay up under. And that's how you do it. Staying on his nerves and giving them no room to throw punches. Like they say, the safest place to be whenever a threat is near is in the eye of the storm.
So that was a sequence of developing a style within a style and giving him answers for every situation that he needed here. And what ends up happening is not only is he closing the gap like the first drill on the floor, but He's also now having to learn how to keep his head off the line because somebody like a Muhammad Ali will keep that jab going, and then you're over and under. And then now you have to learn how to throw the jab low, come over the top, rotate body head, and you're breaking them down. After you throw that shot, now you learn to get up under the armpit and what we call maul. All of these tactics is just like having an alligator under you, eating under your armpit, rib cages, nothing you can do. And that's exactly what we taught. The fact of the matter is this: that young man got so devastating with it that he's the most ducked fighter probably in amateur boxing history. Now he's a professional fighter, undefeated. The thing about it is what happened is the key was he got so good because all we did is drill. We drill. People think they drill. We drill and created the system of an undefeated or unbeatable fighter. That's what this is all about right here. So Stace, on to the next. Hopefully, if you got questions, you got them writing down. You're thinking about them because this is a real thing right here. So thanks for being patient and taking a couple of peeps behind what we were doing. And there was one more drill that you guys will see towards the end of the show. Go for it, Stace.
Yeah, so this is something that I really wanted to bring up today because we get this question a lot. And I can see here on the screen, I can see that our members who are either in Top Trainer U or Champions U or some of these people who picked up the Peekaboo over the weekend, they are wondering, because we get asked all the time, is how do they balance teaching the Peekaboo style with their other fundamental boxing techniques? Because we know when people come on board in either Top Trainer U or in Championship U, their jaw hits the floor. They cannot believe what the resources that they have. And part of our responsibility is to make sure that they progress and they don't get distracted. But I know that you have a very specific manner in how to address this question. How do they learn the Peekaboo, but also keep on track with their fundamentals so they progress as a whole and complete athlete?
Because the Peekaboo becomes a posture. So as you're learning your basic and fundamentals, what you're doing is implementing wrinkles of it. And so the first drill defensively, when it comes down to making punches miss, is the windshield wiper, which is the most common move in the Peekaboo that you guys relate to it. So you learn that in the first week. So now you're putting that with the box step, you're learning how to pivot. You've already learned 2/8 of the Peekaboo in as far as all of the required moves to have it as effective, because exploding off to the side, creating angles, head pops, knowing how to drop and roll under, those are basic. Everything is basic. It was just the Peekaboo is all about where you're looking from. See, that people don't understand the concept of it. You get what I'm saying? They look at Tyson and think what Tyson is doing in its entirety is the Peekaboo. But I'm here to make things clear. The Peekaboo is not all of boxing that Mike Tyson was using. Everything he was doing was necessary to do on top of using this style. All right. But when you look at a lot of different things, there's the Dempsey roll. That's not the Peekaboo. Then there's some of the turtle shell. That's not the Peekaboo. The actual Peekaboo is the turtle shell. Get it? It's all about peeking through your defense mechanism. While you're making your guy miss, you're making him pay. And that's why our Peekaboo style and our system is robust as it is. So deep. So that was a great one. And as I think about, just when you got these guys and you're learning, I don't want you to think that you can work so hard and get so much out of it, because you got to pace and understand where you're going with this thing. When you're fighting at that level, with that level of intensity and that offensive prowess, you have to be clear on how much to output. That's why we have breathing techniques and conditioning system that go along with it. That's what this is all about. So continue.
No, that was really the bulk of my questions. Because we hit
Okay.
the stamina and
Well, what happens when you get to a place now where I want all of those people who have boxers right now to listen to this, because the real understanding of this is about knowing how to embrace all of the hard work that goes into what you do and find out your why, because you'll get this moment one day. And
I fear that because
listen,
they're leading with what they know. You know what I'm saying? And the influences they possibly took in. Be it good influences, great. Be it bad influences, now we got a problem on hands because they're leading the next group of guys on the way up.
yeah.
Right? When you find yourself in trouble, you find yourself in a spot where you don't think you're man enough to handle it, and you don't have that direction, you know what I'm saying, or that understanding. There's a grandfather or father didn't give it to you. It's scary what you do with it. In an aspect, man, we need more of that. And this is why we need fathers in the home, man. Black fathers specifically.
And the bottom line was, if you're first generation, you got to figure all this out on your own. And I don't know who you think you are, but boy, that's an ego. If you think you can figure out the hardest sport to learn in the world by yourself in your first generation, that is arrogant. I mean, there is no arrogance higher than that. And I don't care if you've been in it 5 years, that's nothing. That's nothing. My coach was in it for 40 years and he was still learning. Experiences are always coming, and you have not seen the same situation because it's a different person giving you that situation, and that person is coming with an entirely different arsenal. Everyone thinks that they can handle what's coming, but we've watched top fighters plummet.
Mhm.
If you've been in the ring with Tank, you've seen guys who thought that they were the guy. Barrios. You've seen guys who thought they were undefeated, that was it. You saw Ryan Garcia, just like that. You've seen a multitude of guys. You've seen Lomachenko. They thought that they were going to win. So why didn't they win? Because boxing will tell the truth about you.
Mhm.
You've seen fighters quit who you never would think that you'd see that from. And so when you're learning this sport, and it's all about learning how to think bigger and also use your common sense. There is a reason why people say that there are levels to this thing. And so with that being said, you have to think about, why is it that most people who come into this sport always try to warn you, but our egos just take control. And it's the reason why athletes in our sport first only think they need to train because their coach is telling them, this is what you do. But me as a coach, I said, hey, go over here and I want you to turn your camera on and talk to the audience. My guys did live streams. My guys were stars before they had even had fights. They were the most popular guys out here. Hence is why they were walked out on more than anybody. We were walked out of over 5 Golden Glove tournaments. Guys left out the back door that were present. It was one thing if you go to a fight and nobody was there to fight you. It's another thing when people see them jerseys coming in and
They're like,
and they done weighed in and they done all of the stuff, the physicals and everything, turned in the passbook, literally went and took their stuff, came back. We sat around waiting, and there's a reason. There's a reason. One of the reasons when you close the gap on an individual, like I said, here's a scenario where here's a scenario where we show you how to stop these moments. And this is molding.
Good. Go.
Like training.
Set. Go.
Which one of your amateurs can fight
I
that guy?
almost just started admiring. Oh! That's how it was last year. That was fire.
That's how you were when I first came into the gym.
That's a take. Peace.
Yeah. Go bring your 16-year-old in there and get that smoke. Okay? That's why guys were leaving. And Mr. Philly Shell in the building. These guys were animals. And we developed that.
Mhm.
One of the tags that I got tagged with was, man, you ain't making fighters, you making killers. And I was.
True.
Because if your fighter got in the ring with one of those guys, yeah, that's what would have happened. And they knew it. That's why they were leaving. They were surrendering an opportunity to wear golden gloves because they were feared. They were scared to fight. And that's the ultimate process of boxing, is learning how to gain confidence and learning how to overcome a fear. So obviously, the only thing that the coaches were teaching them was skills.
Mhm.
Yeah, they talk to them, but it's levels. There's a reason why 200,000 people are following us on Instagram. And there's a reason, because they understand there's something here different. No matter whether you saw a video of me just demonstrating or I saw the video of us talking, I don't come from where you come from. I'm coming from a gene pool that's rendered 5 generations. All right. And so, no, you're right. I don't. And when you're bringing your athletes out there, there's more to it than skill, and you don't know it. I don't care who you are. I got to be in the gym, in these events with these dudes who were 75 years old, 80 years old, like guys who were from the soil, guys who got to physically watch the old mongoose and people like Joey Maxim and killers like Tony Zell, people who were in the game way before Ezzard Charles, Jersey Joe. I mean, guys who did corner work for guys like that. That's the pool I'm from. So no, you don't. We teaching something different. It was because my enlightenment was really on an entirely different level than most people get to see. And then I got the opportunity to learn directly from Mount Olympus, literally. So when we talk about these things, yes, I do have the rights to have a system named after what I've compiled, because everything that was written had been written while in world championship training camps. And a lot of you were watching all of those fights. And it was beautiful to be able to put this together. And that's why we're going to host a great clinic on this. And we're going to have a great bevy of guests to take part in it. You know, we're going to have our guy Otis coming in for conditioning, the most athletic and physically conditioning specimens that there is. Former world champion, former NFL star, boxing star, NFL player, Ravens, then first reality show champion. You know, so you got to measure these people, and then Andre Durrell coming in to do the counter punching and techniques and skill, and showing you a different level of this stuff, because there's levels to this thing, and you're going to see why what you're doing is great. What this is epic. It's a whole different level. So I can't wait to share it with you guys. I think this is like in 2.5 weeks, something like that. So what's some news that they'll want to know? Today is President's Day, so there is
Yeah.
a sale today. I guess it's been since yesterday. I think it may be just today. Today we've done it, and we wanted to make sure people can go. So you can go up to the site. I think you can just, if you're watching on Instagram or Facebook, you can
Mhm.
just type the word legend, and you can
Type
get
the
up
word
there.
legend.
But
Yep.
those people who take part in that today, you also get a golden ticket to this actual event, which will be it was, I think it's like 475 bucks to take part in it, but you get to get a golden ticket to it. So
It's gonna
this
be
is going,
sweet.
yeah, it's going to be the opportunity of a lifetime. Now we'll speak specifically what's going to also be at a part of this is the Council of Nutrition.
Mm.
So you're going to finally get an opportunity to understand how to manifest your body. As a pro, as an amateur, you're going through these tournaments, you're going through these professional competitions, and you're struggling, and everybody struggles. 97% of these people who are taking part in these competitions are all struggling. So you're going to learn how to eat the way you eat, and you'll be surprised at the abundance that you can eat macronutrients when you know what you're doing. So that's what's going to be good. And so to have just so you know, the reason why most people don't have nutrition nutritionists in their corner is because you're paying upwards of $2,500 a month easily. Okay.
Mhm.
So you get to get this as well with those packages. That's what's going to come inside of that clinic. You're going to get that and the actual plan to go with it. So it's just not you're getting some skills. You're going to really get a deep dive into what it really takes to operate at the highest level. The plan was created at the University of North Carolina with the smartest dietitians on the planet. That's how you get together and you collaborate with people and you build. And like I said, I've been a nutrition specialist myself for 20 years. Next year will be 20 full years. 2005, 2025. So 19 years fully. So I'm proud to be able to do these kind of things because I've always wondered how these dudes cutting and making weight. And I know some secrets. My my coach say they used to drink brown liquor to cut weight.
Yeah, I've heard that one. Mhm.
But I was like,
That
I
one.
want to do it the right way.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
always ordained me
Mhm.
as the scientist when it comes down to nutrition, the method, but you're going to learn how to go about doing that. So that's $2,500 in your pocket. You don't have to spend that. You can take that. You can use that with your fighter. You can use that for the rest of your life with your people. And the best part about it is not exactly what you eat, it's the methodology you go about doing it. So this is great. And I think with that counter punching, it's all about knowing how to take away what a bully has and how to dominate them and how the techniques that you use. Because I know some of these drills that I've seen him do that he's going to do inside of this is, I hadn't even done any. So it's just going to be great. And just to let you know, Darrell's grandfather trained with Muhammad Ali. So there are going to be some crazy cool pearls that you guys can
Yeah.
take away. So hopefully you guys get the ultimate fighter pack. This basically makes you the complete fighter.
Yeah.
It's the complete fighter bundle. That's what I call it. Because if you
Yeah,
got it,
it's sweet. We put this together for you guys, and once again, in case somebody missed it, all you have to do is comment or DM us legend. And it's going to be going through
yeah,
tonight. It's President's
yeah.
Day.
It's
So
President's Day. So happy President's Day. And
yeah,
this information that we gave to you today was really about making you see things from a different perspective. Now you can look down from the cloud and look at what's possible when you're training and developing your athletes. And if you can do that, what's going to come of it is that you're going to really see the game from a different level. So if you can do that, then you're going to be all right when it comes down to boxing and learning the skills. You won't have to worry about asking a bunch of questions. You'll have the whole savage package. And I know the guys who are in Champions University and the guys who were previously purchased the peekaboo bundles are looking at it like, I'm about to go crack that thing open now.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
should,
you should.
because there's so much more depth in it than what you'll find in just a regular peekaboo download.
Yeah.
This isn't techniques and tutorials. This is system,
Hmm.
and then another thing that's going to come with it, and I'm going to be done after this, is the science of the Philly shell.
Yeah.
So you're going to learn the 7 points. You're going to learn how to breathe, the techniques on how to recover inside of the boxing ring, all of those different things that you don't get to really take part in, as far as how it works together and
Yeah.
how you can just totally permeate inside of the tournaments. And you'll know why our guys were ducked,
Hmm.
especially Mr. Philly Shell,
Yeah.
were dubbed at tournaments back to back to back to back until he had to just go pro. And see, what I want you all to appreciate is the time that you're in boxing, because I'm not going to encourage you just to learn skills. I'm going to encourage you to market yourself, because you're the only ones that stands in the way of being on main event cards. Because don't take it personal when Eddie Hearn don't want to put you on a card, because he
Do it.
needs that event to take off and numbers to be there, because that's how they make their money back. How would you like someone to take your money? And so start young, so that you'll all get the opportunity to just do it in a way that when you show up in your car, the lights and the cameras are on you. Your own personal lights and cameras are on you. And you're able to walk down that aisle, and people are just flashing and interviewing you. And you're just like in that moment. And you get used to that media coming around you, because
Mhm.
you're going to need it. Because when those big opportunities come, you don't want it to be blinding to you. You
Yeah.
want to be used to it. You want to be conditioned. That's what happened with Canelo. He was conditioned for it. He was always on the undercards of guys like Floyd, other guys. So when the big fights happen, he was conditioned for it, because it's a lot different when you haven't had that. So it plays a role, and you get to have leverage when you have
Yeah.
a nice following. When these companies approach you, shoe companies, apparel, gadgets, Apple, people, they want to put their name on you. All you have to do is show that you know how to attract people. If you can take that off of people's plate, you'll have all the opportunities in the world. But if you now know that you want to be a legend in the sport, just type the word legend. We've
Yeah.
made it super simple, and then you get that golden ticket to paradise, because that's going to be the most epic clinic that there will probably ever be done virtually now. But go ahead.
No, there was something else I was going to add to that, and it
Yeah.
speaks perfectly to what you're talking about now. The other thing that we have added is, if you get this, what did you call it? Your Perfect Fighters bundle, or the whatever it is, the Peekaboo Philly Shell bundle, we are actually letting you in for free into Top Trainer U.
Oh
And
yeah,
that is
yeah.
where
Sorry.
we really
Yeah.
dive in and talk a lot of business.
Yeah, and at the same time, Top Trainer U, what people don't understand about it, they think it's some course. It's not a course, it's a university. It's the Harvard University of Boxing.
It is.
And what you get there is, first, cohesiveness. You
Mhm.
get a culture. You get to ask questions. You get to show what you're doing, and to see if you're doing things accordingly. The things that reflect top level boxing, and you get to hear from top level people who have been ordained to be your voice. And it just allows you to stop feeling like you're on your own. And if you're not on your own, that means you got a team. And the first thing that you have to learn to do in boxing is build a team. And you automatically get that whole team when you come into Top Trainer. So go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of team, one thing I know we're getting ready to wrap it up here, is that this Thursday is our second episode of the Coach's Corner for 2024. Two
Yes.
weeks ago, you did an amazing workshop with, it was about how to corner your fighter with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And what came out of that workshop was, it was very evident that the next one needed to be, who are the people that you need to have if you're going to build a championship team, who needs to be on that team and what are their roles and position. So that is actually going to be the topic of Thursday's Coach's Corner episode or workshop. I wanted everybody to know that.
Will they be surprised about what they're gonna need? Or do you think most people already know?
Yeah, you're gonna be floored. You're gonna be floored. And see, at the heart of it, it's we know that there was this huge white space, this opportunity for us to be able to help and support our coaches. And these folks, you guys are working so hard, and it's not just skills.
Yeah.
That's going to get somebody to the top. And that truly, without taking a whole tangent on what the Coach's Corner is, but to say it very succinctly, the Coach's Corner is everything you need to know to get to the top that has nothing to do with skills.
Nothing to do with skills.
Nothing.
And this is what, yeah.
So that will be happening on Thursday. And if anybody is watching this and is not a member of the Coach's Corner yet, just DM us and say, I want to know more about the Coach's Corner, and we'll connect with you directly and let you in the loop and just kind of hook you up and let you be a part.
Here's the pride and joy of walking down that aisle. So one day you guys get an opportunity to do it.
All the way up until it came to the part where I had to walk to go and receive my medal.
Walk to glory.
A lot of joy, man, flooded me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing to make it to such an event, right? To be a part of an elite amount of people, the best in the world, the best from every country, the top dog of every country is seated in one tournament to prove it all, right? And that sense of being robbed, I didn't care no more. That sense of hurt that I felt as I was walking, I didn't feel it anymore. You know what I'm saying? I felt pride for my country because you got the opportunity to see my flag being raised.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Awesome.
That's special. And the fighter that they kind of robbed him of in the Olympics was Triple G. That's, like I said, he fought Triple G in the Olympics, really beat him. But, you know, there's a thing that they have against the American fighters, and, you know, rightfully so, because we dominated for so long, and then they just started to do that. But you're going to face a Mike Tyson. You're going to face a Floyd Mayweather. Mm-hmm. Your fighter's going to face an Andre Ward or a Roy Jones Jr. because we've seen the national tournaments this year, the past 2 months. And I'm telling you, if you think local boxing is going to be enough to win at that level, you're sadly mistaken. It's levels to this. And we're going to give you the key. Make sure you register to jump into that clinic so you'll have a bigger, more of a bird's eye view of what you're really facing and the necessary tools that it'll help that you'll need to get through it. Because, you know, we're just not a school. We're a university. And this university is full of answers. And that's what you need when it comes down to boxing lineage, because that's where the answers reside. And there are secrets in boxing, because if it wasn't, I wouldn't have needed to write books. You feel what I'm saying? So for those of you who definitely want to partake in that bundle, that basically is the complete fighter bundle, make sure you type the word legend and make sure you continue to follow for more with Think Bigger, aka working with Coach Eric Bradley and my partner in crime, Stacey. Thanks for taking the time to hang out with us. Special shouts out to all of my people over here on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. You guys are great. And I see you all soon. Special shouts out to my brothers in Top Training You, the School of Boxing. I see you all soon.
See you next time.
Peace out, guys. Thanks again.